Morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. Welcome to Dog Terriers IEP meeting. We are here today to discuss data we've collected using a functional behavioral assessment in order to create a behavior intervention plan, which we will go over in detail throughout this meeting. First, I want to welcome everyone who's here present with us today. We have Mrs. Labrador, Mr. Labrador, our school psychologist. Mr. Boxer, the school social worker, welcome. Mrs. Dachshund, who works closely with Dog in his special ed courses, and Miss Beagle, who also works with Dog for those courses in which he is enrolled for general education. And then, of course, Mr. and Mrs. Terrier, Dog's parents, we welcome you to this meeting time as well. Just to go over some initial information, we want to review that Dog, he attends Horning Middle School. He's 12 years old and in 7th grade. So he is anticipated to graduate in May of 2024. Excellent. Now we will go ahead and move on to the functional behavioral assessment. All right. Give me one moment. And actually, before we begin, does anyone have any questions? All right. Then we shall begin talking his FBA. So, what's most important to remember as we talk through all these details is that Dog demonstrates various strengths inside and outside of the classroom. What his teachers and our student services staff report is that Dog is excellent at multitasking in the classroom, and he's very ambitious. He's a driven, determined student. He sees what he wants, and he's not afraid to chase after it. We've heard from you, Mr. and Mrs. Terrier, that a concern of yours is in relation to this desire for more, to be so ambitious. This ambition sometimes drives Dog to fight so hard for what he wants that he ends up losing all that he has. For example, when he was on his way to school, several weeks ago, Dog had already, in his mouth, he was already carrying a piece of meat on his way to school for lunch, and he went to cross a plank bridge that was situated over a stream, and it was a sunny day outside. So as soon as he went to cross the plank bridge, Dog noticed his own reflection in the water, but to him, he saw his reflection and believed, as far as we can tell, he saw that there was another dog with a larger piece of meat there in front of him. So he saw this larger piece of meat, and what that prompted him to do was drop his own meat and jump into the water to reach for the meat he saw this dog carrying in his own mouth. What happened was Dog lost his meat and, of course, never obtained the larger piece of meat he noticed when he observed his own reflection. So sometimes this desire for more actually can become a problem for Dog. And so that's really the purpose of our meeting here today. Because Dog tends to notice what others have and go after that, which we've noticed as far as his attitude in the classroom goes. When this occurs, Dog tends to display disappointment and even discontentment because he's without what he had or what he wanted to have. Teachers also note, Miss Beagle and Mrs. Dachshund, you've seen that while Dog is determined to do his best in class, he often compares his work to the work of his classmates. And whenever he receives a grade for an assignment or a score on a test that is different from those of his classmates, lower than those of his classmates, he tends to show disappointment and discontentment. He wants more or different from what he is capable of, which frustrates him and causes him to be clumsy, as we realized in the retelling of his encounter on the plank bridge. Again, a strength of dogs is that he's ambitious, and when he's willing, he will work hard for what he wants. He also has exceptional gross motor skills. We've come to this conclusion that dog's discontentment causes him to get into conflicts with other students. He also tends to lack motivation to achieve once he realizes that other students are performing at higher levels than him, so his grades suffer. If dog cannot overcome this discontentment, he will not succeed in school. And this is exactly what we want to prevent here at Horning Middle School. We don't want dog to lose motivation. Moving on from our functional behavioral assessment, now we will go ahead and talk through his behavior intervention plan. And just to review exactly what we're defining as problematic behavior, a behavior we want to go ahead and create supports around, interventions for, is this. Dog pounces on another dog with meat bigger than his own, once per day, lasting 2 minutes, to the extent that he pounces on his own reflection. And dog does this in order to obtain more meat. That is dog's hope. And that's what drives him to do what he does, which often leads to conflict with other students. Again, as we read through our BIP, dog is ambitious. He looks to obtain a piece of meat that appears twice as big as his own in our primary example. Dog is also excellent at multitasking. He has no trouble crossing a plank bridge while carrying his meat. Dog displays discontentment once a day when he sees meat that he wants. He wants the meat badly enough, so badly that he is willing to pounce on another dog to get it, only to find that it's not there, which is when the behavior ends, and in reality, his discontentment only increases when he realizes he is without what he had and without what he wanted. This happens when dog is outside, usually going to or from school, and when specifically he crosses a plank bridge. He's the only one involved, although his reflection plays a part as well. His antecedent, that behavior sort of environment or situation that prompted his behavior, dog was crossing a plank bridge when he noticed another dog, his reflection, with a piece of meat twice as big as his own, and he decided he wanted it. As a consequence, for dog, his hope, what he wants when he sees this dog with a larger piece of meat, he did what he did because he saw the possibility of obtaining a larger piece of meat. That's what motivated dog to do what he did. Outside, the weather was sunny, so dog was able to see his reflection. And the stream below the plank bridge was strong enough to carry dog's meat away. Dog was hungry as he was carrying the meat. Again, we hypothesize that dog displays discontentment anytime he sees something he wants that is not already in his possession. He pounces on another dog with meat bigger than his own, once per day, lasting 2 minutes, at least 2 minutes, to the extent that he pounces on his own reflection, all in order to obtain more meat. Dog shows discontentment when he wants a piece of meat that is seemingly larger than the one he already has. Non-examples include when dog pounces on another dog during a game of tag, say at recess. This is a non-example because dog's actions are not a result of his noticing meat and going after that meat. We are calling this a skill deficit because we believe dog doesn't know how to ask for meat or ask for whatever it is that he sees and wants. We also realize that he struggles with impulse control, which we will talk about in a moment. Before I move on, that's a lot of information, a lot to take in. Are there any questions at this moment? Okay. Thank you all for listening. There will be a moment later when I want to hear your input. For now, let's see. Again, what's the function of this behavior for dog? Well, dog wants to obtain more meat. He wants to obtain a larger piece of meat. So, how can we intervene? Because we've already attempted a Tier 1 and Tier 2 intervention, we're moving on to Tier 3, so we want to talk replacement behaviors. We've come up with a few, and here at the end of our meeting, we'll leave it open to discuss and brainstorm others. For now, we've decided that it's important, first of all, for dog to learn how to ask for something that he wants. How can he ask for the larger piece of meat without acting? He needs to think and speak up before he goes after what he wants. So it's important that he learns how to ask. Asking for what he wants is a replacement behavior. Another idea we came up with was a gratitude list. If this behavior is really rooted in discontentment, we want dog to realize that he has so much to be thankful for, and that what he has might just well be good enough. Additionally, we want to help dog understand and hold on to, regulate his behavior so that he's not just reacting and pouncing because he can't control his impulses. So we want to teach dog how to plant his paws on the ground and count to 10 before he makes another move forward. These are a few ideas for replacement behaviors.